Hello, and welcome to the Synthesizer Q&A. This is to celebrate 4,200 members, which, as we all know, is one of the most magical numbers that exists on Earth. So, let's jump straight into the questions. Matt Jez, if you were to start all over again, would you build an audience first or a business? Please elaborate. The answer to this depends on what my goals are. If my goal is to create content because I enjoy creating content, then I would try to build an audience. If my goal is to become more well-known and network with people that are interested in similar things that I'm interested in, then I would create content to build an audience. My goal is to make money, I would start a business, or at least I would find something to get paid for so that I can earn whilst I learn. If you're starting out, that's the best way to go, and I'm realizing this more and more as time goes on, because growing an audience and monetizing through an audience can take years and it's very difficult. So I think that the advice that I used to give is different to the advice that I'd give now. Question number 2. How would I help an existing business owner get into organic content creation? I would first help them understand the power of content creation. If you already have some kind of mechanism for monetization, you sell something, then content creation, I believe, is the best long-term play for you to make. Ads are okay, but they contribute to high revenue, but very rarely high profit. Also, ads have diminishing returns, meaning the more you scale, the less profitable you become, which has serious implications if your goal is to continue to scale. If you're struggling now with ads, you'll struggle when volume increases with ads because CPMs increase. So I'd recommend you to start creating content. We've seen, this isn't exactly groundbreaking things to be saying. Gary Vee's been saying this for the past 10 years. And most recently, the most notable people we've seen start to do this is people like Alex Hormozi, who've absolutely blown up and claim that they get $2 million worth of impressions for $70,000, which is how much they spend on content. We've heard people from the All In podcast say that in the future, all advertising will be spent on content. And these guys are billionaires. This isn't just me hypothesizing these things. If you're a business owner, it's worth creating content. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, it takes a ton of time. This question leads me perfectly, and it's difficult for me not to pitch. I'm currently training a group of people to become content specialists who can help you create content. Because some of the biggest problems is obviously creating content takes time. It takes a lot of time. And there's no way to get around that. So either you spend a lot of time doing it, or you find somebody who's trained to spend a lot of time doing it, so the amount of time you have to do it gets minimized to 1 or 2 hours a week. That's what I recommend you do. You can either do that through us, or you can hire a content specialist. If you want to do that through us, just message me on School. There's nothing, no formal website set up. But if you want that, just message me. Or I feel like I have to provide alternatives. Do it yourself. It's worth doing. Learning the skills, it'll take you time, but it's worth it. Or train someone yourself. Find someone who understands content and has experience creating content, and hire them and train them. Anyway, moving on. If you started YouTube from scratch, knowing what you know now, but not having the skills, what skills would you train first? I think that my goal would be to try to create the best videos possible, and then I would learn the skills that I need to in order to get to that point. YouTube is a game of creating videos that people love, and I would try to make videos that people loved. And if I couldn't do that, I would try to understand what skills I was missing, and then I would learn those skills. I wouldn't just go out from the start and learn some skills. It has to be relevant to what it is that we're building here. And instead of just giving generic advice, I would look at my situation, figure out what skills I was lacking, and then improve those specific skills. That was by Christian Van Daus, by the way. Another one from Christian. What are my thoughts on actualize.org? It's funny. My girlfriend and I call him Egg when we communicate about him, because, as you may have guessed, he looks like an egg. But I like him. He makes interesting content. He went deep down a spirituality route that I haven't gone down either, and it is easy for me to judge him for that. A lot of the stuff looked similar to a mental breakdown, so it's difficult to figure out whether it was a mental breakdown or whether it was some kind of a spiritual breakthrough. I don't know. But the content that he used to make that was practical and implementable was great content, and I benefited from some of the pieces of content. And I love the fact that he doesn't change much. Well, he kind of does, but I feel like there's elements to him that doesn't change much at all. I feel like he's got lots of fixed variables in the creative process, which I like. I mean, obviously he just sits and he talks and there's no editing. It's a one take every single video. It's always a talking head. It's always about personal development and somewhat related to that field. I don't know. It's very consistent branding, which I appreciate. What was my daily routine when I was training to earn my financial freedom? Give me the juicy, painful details. In other words, what was the meat that made the sausage? Good question. Daily routine. I mean, there's different phases. First one was the university, alone in my college dorm, staying in whilst everyone else goes out. Obsession over figuring out a way to make it work. Then there was the phase of the team, where I started to work with people closely. And that has a different feel to it. That has more of a feeling of camaraderie. And yes, we're struggling, but at least we're not struggling alone. And that's when things started to pick up. Well, they started to pick up before, and then I hired the team. And that was fun. Although, it's strange, because even though we were winning in every way, it was still accompanied by a lot of stress and didn't feel like we were winning at the time. We would always set bigger and bigger and bigger and more ambitious goals, and most of the time, looking back, it felt like we always wanted more. Things were unsatisfactory, which is crazy to think about, but that was that phase. And I'd say those are the two main phases, and then there was the traveling, retirement, exploring, my curiosity, experimenting phase. And then there's this phase, which is synthesizer phase, and getting back into everything we're getting back into now. Next question. What videos have you made that you think everybody here needs to watch? Why? I don't know if there's any that I think everybody here needs to watch. Like, I can recommend different videos for people that have specific problems, but I don't know if there's a video that everyone needs to watch. Next question. David Hurley, have you started using ChatGPT? If so, how? If not, why not? Yeah, I use ChatGPT. Most of the time it's just me entering my thoughts. I just write my thoughts and see what it says back. It's a useful exercise, number one, to write down your thoughts, and number two, to see what it says back. Sometimes I'm fully disagreeing with what it's saying and I will argue my case. And sometimes I'll agree with what it says and I'll learn something new. Or sometimes I haven't documented my thoughts clearly, so it misunderstands me, so it forces me to clarify what I'm thinking, which is useful. There's been a few times that I've experimented with it and tried to use it for tweets, tried to use it for titles, tried to use it for video ideas, tried to use it for messages, tried to write it for scripts, tried to use it for posts. And it's good for ideas, but I'll never just take something. Although I think there's probably a way to use it to grow on Twitter. Just haven't figured out how, or haven't spent enough time trying to figure out how. Next question. What are your goals for the next 90 days? Health, spiritually, and financially. There's a few different goals. 1, continue to create content, get the content systems up and running. We've onboarded a little content team, get everybody up to shape, get us producing consistently. I've seen a huge opportunity, and there's 2 parts to it, and I'm executing both as we go. Opportunity 1 is I see that there's a lot of people in the synthesizer school that want to start earning an income in the creator economy. And their current vehicle for doing that is through creating their own audience, creating their own content, and then monetizing it at some point in the future. And I think that this works, but it's difficult and it takes a long time. So it's doable, but expected to take a few years. And I think that some of them should just become content specialists. There's demand at the moment for content specialists. And I can train them to become content specialists, and that's the first opportunity. They can get paid within 30 to 90 days. And the second opportunity is there's a ton of different businesses that want to start creating content, but they don't have the time or the expertise or the knowledge to do it. So I'll train the people up to become content specialists, and then I'll help them get a job with one of these businesses. And the people that are becoming content specialists win because they're guaranteed, if they're accepted, to make money, to get an income within 30 to 90 days. Otherwise, we give them their money back. And the businesses are going to win because content creation is a great vehicle for attracting new customers. And to have someone that's trained up at that specific thing by somebody who knows what they're doing is a great opportunity. Plus, it furthers the Synthesizer mission, because many of these business owners have many industry secrets. They know things. They're experts. That's why they're selling products of some kind. So to get them to create content is improving the quality of content that exists on the internet, which is the Synthesizer mission. Goals health-wise. There's a good interview that I've been listening to, or that I listened to, about health on the Diary of a CEO podcast, which has kind of really changed the way that I view food. A few of the takeaways are things like macros aren't the most important thing. So it's not about calories and protein and fat and sat fat and carbs and all that stuff. What matters more is the quality of the food, which I think makes sense. You guys probably don't care too much about health. I'll link the thing, or just find it yourself. I think his name's Tim Spector. Tim Spector? Let me check. Tim Spector, Diary of a CEO. Spiritually, have no spiritual goal. Do I scuba dive? Do synthesizers scuba dive? I'm down to organize a diving trip for synthesizers in Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, or the Maldives. That would be fun. I will be in Bali in January, and I've never scuba dived. I've snorkeled, but it sounds kind of interesting. In a YouTube short, you mentioned something about just executing and no longer needing to read books for more info. Can you elaborate on how you think that shift happened? Yeah, I think it's like, if you're learning something from scratch, it's best to find everyone and anyone who's got the thing that you want and obsess over learning from them. But there reaches a point where you have to put that away and you just have to try and get what you want without external sources. Like, the marginal benefit of learning from other people decreases over time. I think that's what I'm really trying to say. Meaning, when you're just beginning, it's really good to learn from someone. And as time goes on, there's less benefit to learning from people. And I'm at a phase in my life at the moment where I know what I need to do. I just need to do it. I don't need to learn anything new. But I'm sure there'll be a point in my life where that changes and I need to learn to enter the next phase of my life. Next question. Do time zones matter in the great online game? I'm from the Philippines and we're 12 to 15 hours ahead of the US. Of all your travels, which country has the most optimal time zone? I mean, the most optimal time zone is probably America. Probably Eastern time, I would say, is the most optimal. But come on, you can't use that as an excuse. I was in Thailand for 6 months and did plenty well in the great online game, and I'm going to Bali in January and don't think that's going to change anything. And I was in the UK before that. Like, I don't think it matters that much. The only time it would matter is if you're doing calls, like sales calls or networking calls or some kind of calls every day. And even then, just do them right in the morning, early, or late at night. Just get it done. Next question from Dan Clutterbuck. How to find the niche that suits your skills and aptitude best? Instead of trying to look for a niche, I would try to identify what niches you're already a part of and create for that. So ask yourself questions like, who are your top 5 favorite creators that you love consuming? Or, what are you best in the world at? What do you find yourself obsessing over? What are you really interested in learning more about? What is the goal that you're trying to achieve? Those things can inform the niche more than looking for it. More than looking for it externally, I should say. Next question, best way to learn sales quickly? Do lots of sales calls. Next question, break old habits? How to change your identity for success? I think that the only way you can change your identity is if you start to see evidence that supports this new identity that you're forming. So figure out what the identity you want to have is, and then start to act in a way that provides your brain with evidence that you are this new identity. Keep doing that and you'll become that new identity. Next question, what is your vision for the creator economy moving offline? I think it's really cool to meet people in person. I was with Sam Ovens today, and I was with Sam Ovens a few days ago, and it was cool to meet him in person. And everyone I've met in person recently, Ali Abdal, Nick Cosmin, even Victor and Matt, who are both on the team, who I met in person recently. It's just cool to meet people in person. Next question, Jamie Barkley. Are you ever going to make the video, I tried Andrew Tate's daily routine for 30 days, lol, that's a banger? No, not going to make that video. Next question, from Nina Van Dousberg. What are your current goals and how are you working towards them? Good question. There's a couple current goals that I have. One of them I think would be cool to make $1 million a month. One of them long term I think would be cool to be a billionaire. Those are the financial goals. There's goals that I have related to health and fitness that are more like, I'm less focused on the goal with those things and I'm more focused on the systems that I trust will get me to where I want to get to, just being healthy. And there's also similar things to do with relationships. Like no tangible goals there, but systems that I'm implementing to improve my relationships. What do you believe has been the biggest game changer from going broke to successful? I'd probably say learning from people on the internet. Next question, do you believe in morning routines? And if so, what's yours? My morning routine is just get up and get to work. Generally, I don't have breakfast. I intermittent fast. It's weird. If you say, I don't have breakfast, it sounds bad. But if you say, I intermittent fast, it sounds good. So, I intermittent fast. Next one, Joseph Chandler. What does your content creation routine look like? Ask me that in a couple months' time. At the moment, my bottleneck isn't awareness. I have awareness. I just need to, that's not my bottleneck. I need to do other things instead of gaining more awareness. I mean, Victor literally said to me, who works on the team, make sure content creation, at least for the next couple of weeks, is only 10 or 20% of your time. Focus on other things. And I think he's right. Is there a team behind your personal brand? There wasn't up until recently, but now there is. A partner asks a question, how to find a job in the creator economy? Yeah, it's tough. I'm in a lucky position, and the people that are in the Content Specialist Academy are in a lucky position because I know a lot of people that are looking to hire. I know a lot of business owners that are looking to hire, so I can connect people easily. But apart from that, it's I would probably just work for free. If your goal is to get a job in the creator economy, just work for free. And what that'll do is it'll force you to find a place where you can add value. If someone doesn't even want you for free, then it's because you're going to be costing them in time more than you're adding value. So keep looking until you find somewhere. It's step one is being able to work for someone for free. Then step two is getting paid to do it. Next question. What is Andrew's diet and exercise regime like? I go to the gym maybe 3 times a week. 3, 4. My diet, my girlfriend cooks a lot. And she's pretty deep into the health space. So it's healthy food overall, generally. I should probably expand on that. What do I mean by healthy food? It's whole foods, good quality foods, fruit, vegetables, carbs, not too much salt, not too much sugar. Just the general basic diet, health stuff. Andrew's thoughts on religion. I think religion can add a lot to a lot of people. Do I believe that God exists? At this point in my life, no. What are Andrew's thoughts on legacy / having kids? I think legacy is irrelevant. You'll be dead, so it doesn't matter what's left behind. I think. That's my current thoughts. Next question, having kids. If you want to have kids, then have kids. If you don't, don't. Next one, how did Andrew meet his girlfriend? It was actually in university. What do Andrew's parents / family think about what he does? I think they're very proud. Many people in my family don't really understand what I do, which is fine. But I think my parents generally do, and I think they're proud. I think they would rather I be talking about God instead of people like Marcus Aurelius. But that is what it is. Next question, I do have a YouTube channel of under 100 subs with 10-20 views per video. I lose about 60% audience within the first 10 seconds using different intros, different videos. How do I know which intro is best? Because I just don't have enough data. You don't need data. Just pull up your video, and then in another tab, pull up James Janney's video. Click play on your video and watch it for 5 seconds. Then click play on James's video and watch it for 5 seconds. Make a list of the differences. Question number 3, how can I find out trends in my niche? The more you know your niche, the more it becomes obvious what the trends are. Fedor, what are your next goals related to Synthesizer School? Synthesizer School. It was better when it was smaller. I think the quality of members has decreased. I was talking about this with the team and they were saying that I should make it paid. I mean, we could make it paid. I think it would improve the quality of the member here. But I think that, I don't know what needs to be done. I'm figuring it out. But the next goal is just to improve the quality of discussion and conversation that's happening in the Synthesizer School. Next question from Victor. If you were starting a YouTube channel from scratch but had the knowledge you know now, what would you do? I would create videos that I enjoyed making and that people would enjoy watching. And in order to do that, I would look at the videos that I wish existed. Or I would look at which videos I love consuming most. Or even just what in general I love consuming most, and I would create based on that. And I would focus on making the video quality as high as it possibly could. What's the long-term vision for this group? I think that this community is the start of something huge. I think that there's a lot of market trends that are happening, and I think this community is perfectly positioned for a ton of cool things to happen. A ton of great careers to be created, a ton of great relationships to be formed. I think that it's a good place to be, and it's a good place to be for the next few years. And I'm excited to just keep things going as they're going, keep improving things bit by bit. And I'm sure everything will improve. We'll see though. Next question. What is the best career choice for someone that wants to be in the creator economy, doesn't want to wait 3 years to get any results? It seems like these questions are teeing me up for a pitch. I honestly think that the best opportunity that I've seen recently, and this, I'm trying not to be biased, is that content specialist opportunity I presented. It's like, where else can you guaranteed get a job within 30 to 90 days? I think that's the best opportunity that I've seen recently. Also, James Janney's hiring. He'll be hiring a researcher and he'll be hiring a editor. I think they're pretty good opportunities as well. Nivas asks, who are the current gurus that you follow? None at the moment. Number 2, who are a few gurus you recommend a beginner of the great online game follow to shortcut their way to success? Good question. Tom Bilyeu, Gary Vee, Sam Ovens, Dan Coe, Justin Welsh, Dickie Bush, David Perel, Tiago Forte, Film Booth, Alex Hormozy, Naval Ravikant. I think that's it. Final question. What do you think the impact of AI will be on the players of the great online game, and how can we use it to our advantage to save time and money? I think that more and more AI will be used more and more, and I think that we should use it where we can. The two that I see that has the most practical benefit at the moment is ChatGPT if you want text generated, or Midjourney if you want photos generated. There's also some for videos and stuff like that, which I think could be cool, but just play around with them, use them, see how they can be used, and use them where they can be. And that is the end of the Synthesizer podcast. Thank you for 4,200 members. It's been fun, and I hope that you've enjoyed this Q&A. If you have, let me know. Comment saying, wow. Just comment something. And if there's any way you can think that I can improve this, please let me know as well. Thanks for listening. I will see you later.